Good afternoon, everybody. How are we all? Sun shining, birds are singing. What could be better? Hi, Beverly. Hi, Val. Hi, Helen. Hi, Nikki. Hi, Jill. Hi, Jean. Hi, Andrea. Hi, Janet. Hi, Karen. Hi, Hazel. Hi, Patricia. Hi, Andrea. Did I say that once? Possibly. Sometimes quite difficult to keep up with the comments. They go really quick. Oh, hi, Tina. Oh, it's half term, isn't it? Hi, Margaret. Hi, Sharon. What's the weather like in Canada, Sharon? Hi, Stephanie. Sunshine but cold. Yes, it's a bit chilly here, Margaret, but I have actually got the window open, so fingers crossed it doesn't get much colder. Hi, Natalia. Hi, Lisa. Hi, Agnieszka. Hope I said that right. I've not seen that name before. Welcome. Just pop for a walk on campus in the sunshine. How lovely. Hi, Janice. Make sure you lock the door behind him, Janice. Hi, Debbie. Hi, Lorraine. Hi, Karin. Hi, Nettie. Hi, Lorraine. Okay, so there's quite a few of you here today. Half-term holidays and the like, obviously making it easier for a few. So welcome if you've not joined us before. Hi, Paige. So today I'm going to just give you a little bit of inspiration with the fabulous Edgecutz dies. Now I've only got the one set, there are two, but I did look on Create and Craft yesterday and it looks like this is the only one that's available. Obviously it will be available on Lisa's website in a couple of weeks, but if you wanted to get it now and you wanted to get it off Create and Craft, this is the only one that's available looking at the website. So if you want it, I'd grab it quick. Hi, Helen. Hi, Linda. Beautiful in Bognor. I mean, if you look out the window, it looks fabulous. It's when you go outside, it's not quite so fabulous. Chilly and blue skies in Aberdeenshire. Oh, I wish I'd have known Val. I'd have come and park mine behind you. Graham keeps promising to wash it and it never gets done, so I might end up having to do it myself. Okay, I've got an extra light on here. Tell me if it's better with it on, it's on at the moment, or if it's better without it. So I've just turned it off. Is it better with or without? And then I'll use it or not accordingly. So just let me know if that's okay. And I'm assuming the sound's okay because you're all talking back at me, so I'm assuming you can all hear me and see me okay. Right, so the things I'm going to be using today, if I just put you a little list, better with it on. You'll love them, Tina, they're fabulous. Okay, I shall leave it on. Fair enough, thank you very much. So if I just pop you a list of what I'm using today, I'll just take that off. There we go. So these are all the products that I'm using today. And I did have a quick look at Lisa's website yesterday. The sentiment stickers went a long time ago. The bubble squares are out of stock at the moment, but I'm pretty sure that everything else is still in stock. Obviously this die isn't going to be on Lisa's website just yet, but everything else that I'm using is in stock apart from the bubble squares and the sentiments. So that's the die I'm using. I'm also using the nested hearts because I'm just going to run through the card that Donna did. I have checked, Donna doesn't mind if I demo that. So I've done it in one colour ready and I'm going to do it in black so that it looks exactly the same as Donna's. The finished card won't look exactly the same, but similar, okay? I'm also using the nested scalloped and plain stitch squares because these are just so versatile. If you haven't already got them, I really would think about it seriously. Lisa's nested dies are just second to none. They're fabulous. Those are the sentiments, obviously, that I'm using that aren't in stock anymore, and the bubble squares. I know a lot of you have got these, but you can use anything really. You don't even have to use a die, just cut your card accordingly, you know, sort of a larger square and then a smaller square. It doesn't have to be a die cut square. It just looks a little bit prettier if it's got rounded edges. Okay, so the first one I thought we'd do would be Donna's, just because it's sort of, that was what sort of I decided to do first. Okay, there's a little mark on my card here. I must have had something on my card, but when I've put everything down you won't see it, so I'm not worried about it. So this is from the nested scallop squares, and this one is from the nested stitch bubble squares, because it's just that little bit bigger. Okay, this is one of the first two large non-bubble dies. Okay, so that's the base of my card. So then I've cut a white heart and a black heart out of those nested hearts. Okay, I will take that list down in a minute. I just want to give you a chance to just write the things down if you want to. Okay, you have a big delivery at the end of Feb. How fabulous. I'm assuming the bubble squares will be on there then, Lisa, will they? Hi Alison. Poor Danny. Never mind. So yeah, so I've cut a red one and I've cut a black one. Okay, and the black one is going to have the die cut into it, and then I'm going to stick this down onto the white one, so that will give me my white side here. All right, so this is the die. Fabulous die, one piece of metal, and it's just great. It's got a cut edge on the one side, as you can see. If I just lift that up, you'll see the difference. So this side's got that beautiful cut edge on it, and this side hasn't. Okay, this side will just cut all those flowers and leaves out for you, and this side will cut out around those leaves. Okay, cut the leaves out as well, but it will cut around them so that you're left with an edge. All right, so just move that one out of the way. I also did one in red, okay, because I thought, well, it is Valentine's, so let's see what it looks like in red. And I think it looks equally as fabulous in red. And you could change the background colours to match your heart, so you can do them in any colour. It doesn't have to be monochrome black and white. It could be monochrome red and white. Whatever colour suits the person you're giving it to, I suppose. So we're going to cut this heart using this die. Okay, so I'm just going to place it. No particular definite place really. It's just what part of this die you want most of. Now I definitely want all the flowers, so you can see on this one that I've sort of cut the leaves off and those few little sort of stems with those little bubbles on, but it's entirely up to you. You cut it how you want it, but for me those flowers sitting in the middle there is the main part of the die that I want to feature. Okay, so I need a little bit of black around here to make it look right, and then I'm just going to where's my washi tape gone? I'm just going to put a bit of washi tape on here because I don't want this to move once I've sort of started to put it through my die cutting machine. Okay, so I'm just going to put a bit of washi tape on there. I'm not worried about this sticking to my card because I'm going to throw this piece away anyway. Okay, so I'm just going to run this through, so bear with me while I wanted to run it through rather than just have it already done so that you could see how easy it was. All right, so I'll just move that to one side. I'm going to lift this off. Now you'll see all the pieces are falling out really beautifully, and you can see here that that's the piece that I don't want of that heart. Okay, the pieces fall out of these dies really easily. Some of the little tiny ones you might just have to poke out, but honestly they cut like an absolute dream. So I'm just going to push out those little bits that haven't popped out of the die. But like I say, it's only because they're tiny, and they will just pop out dead easy. Okay, so never have to worry. If your card is a little bit thicker, I'd just run it through twice. So I'd run it through and then run it back, all right? Because that way you will make sure that all your cut lines cut perfectly. Okay, just depends on the thickness of your card. This is Lisa's black texture card, so it is a really beautiful thickness to cut. Okay, I'm going to throw these bits in the bin because I don't really need them. If you want a paper piece, hang on to them. But if you're not into paper piecing, then you can just bin them straight away. All right. So then I'll come back to my card, take my white heart, and then I'm going to put my white heart on here. Okay. And the stitch lines will follow round on this heart because it's exactly the same die cut. So the stitch lines will sit within the stitch line. So it'll sort of seat itself into place. Okay, now you can see that I've probably come a little bit further this way on this one compared to the red one. I've probably got more of a gap around here, but I honestly don't think it really matters, whatever you want to do. So all I'm going to do now is just add my glue on the back, and I'm going to go on these tiny little pieces. I'm just literally going to go on the edges because I don't necessarily need them all to stick down. I just need the very edges to stick because you don't want it to lift. Okay, if you wanted to, you could put the piece of card onto double-sided adhesive and then run it through your die cutting machine. But if you're doing that, I definitely would run it through a couple of times because it will take more of an effort to cut through the double-sided adhesive because that is quite thick. So once you've added that to a 216 GSM card, the double-sided adhesive will make it sort of quite thick. So if you're going to do that, run it through a couple of times. Okay, so I'm just literally adding my glue where I think this might sort of lift. So I'm going all around the edge, and then I'm coming quite randomly into the rest of the heart. Okay, so I'm coming all around the edge here. I'm using Lisa's fabulous glue because I don't use anything else these days. Best glue I've ever come across. So just randomly going, I'm probably going a bit over the top with the glue, to be honest, but it's not going to matter. Okay, and then we're just going to place this down on here and line it up. Line the solid piece up because the other will line up on its own anyway. Okay, so line it up so that you can't see any of that white heart around there, and then just gently press down on those edges to make sure that none of it lifts. Okay, because that's the last thing you want. You don't want anybody catching that and lifting it up. Okay, you can 3D this one if you want. You don't have to. I'm not going to. I think it would look good 3D'd, but I don't want to take up the time for 3D in it, so I'm not going to do that today. So I'm just going to add my glue on the back of the white heart. And again, this white card is this is basically a piece of white card that I've got in my stash because I didn't want to waste my smooth card from Lisa, to be honest. But you just pop that down there, make sure it's in the centre and make sure it's level. And that's about right. And then just press it down. So you can see now you can't see where my little faux pas was on my card there. So quite happy about that. Now I know when Donna did hers, she'd got 2 little bands of black with little white hearts on. I didn't want to copy it sort of 100%. So I've used one of the sticker sentiments, and I've used the black on white, and then I've added that to a piece of black card so that it will just stand out against this white frame here. And I think this looks so classy and so expensive. I think it's just perfect. So I'm going to pop that there like so. And all I would say is if you're using black card, make sure you stick with the same black card throughout the project, okay? Because there's black card and there's black card, and you wouldn't think that there was so much differentiation in colour on black card, but believe me, there is. So if you're using texture card, use texture card all the way through. If you're using satin card, do the same. The only thing I would say with satin card is that sometimes, depending on how much you use your plates, you might end up with little marks on your black on the satin card. Okay, so just bear that in mind. But when you're using black, use the same black all the way through. Okay, otherwise it will show up like a sore thumb. All right, so that's, I mean, it is simple, isn't it? Very, very simple, but so classy. I just think that is, it's just a class card. And like I say, if you wanted to, you could do it in red. I wouldn't put it on a black background. I'd put it on a red background. Although I think it probably looks okay on black anyway. But I think I'd stick with the same colour. So whatever colour card you want to do this die cutting with, just put your background in the same colour. Okay, so 2 different colourways for the same card. Okay, so that's the first one. And then the second one is based on one of my cards that I did for my samples. Now you can see I've kept some of the flower bits that I've cut out in a different colour, and you'll see why in a second. I'll put them to one side. If you are going to paper piece, when you take your die off your cutting plate, what I would do personally is I'd try and press all your pieces out onto the die cutting plate, and then put a piece of card over the top. Okay, turn your plate over onto your card, and then take your plate away, put another piece of card this side and turn it back. That way most of your pieces will be in the same place that they should be if you want to paper piece. Just makes life a lot easier. Okay, sounds a bit fiddly, but trust me, it's not as fiddly as trying to find the right piece to go in the right place if you don't do it like that. Okay, so just an idea for you. So this one is again really, really simple. Now I have cut the pieces out for this, and all I've done is I've measured 2 pieces of black card, the width of my card blank, okay, and then I've measured how deep I want it. So I've gone from the outside edge of my card to just right on the edge of the die cut, and I think that worked out around about 8 centimeters. I can't remember off the top of my head. Let me get my ruler and tell you. I think it's about 8. Yeah, see, to the top of that die there from the bottom is about 8 centimeters. So it just depends how big you want this gap in the middle. Okay, and literally I wanted just enough room to put the sentiment in the middle, because I just think it's, again, another really, really simple card, but quite effective. And the only thing extra that I'm going to do once I've glued all this down is I'm going to paper piece a couple of the flowers like I did on my sample. My sample was, I think my sample was black and white, but the colour of the flower, I think I used a lilac, and I'm using a blue here. So again, I'm going to just add my glue down on the back, and then I'm just going to go around the edges of the flowers again like I did on that first one, on that heart one, so that it doesn't lift. So I use my little bottle and just go around the edges, and I'm not worried about this glue drying too quick. It won't. It might look like it's starting to dry, but it's still got plenty of tack for you to fasten it down to your card. You won't get to the end of putting the glue on here and think, well, it won't stick to the card, because it will. and that's why I like this glue. That and the fact that you really don't need a great deal, and it's got really good adherence to it. So I know Lisa was really fussy with her glue because she wanted it to do exactly what it said on the bottle, and this one definitely does. So I'm just going on the pieces that might lift when I've put this down, and then I'm just going to add this to the top of the card. Okay, so measure your card. Doesn't matter if you measure it bigger before you put it down, sort of like wider, because you can always just trim the edges off. So don't worry about it being wider. All you need to do is make sure that you've got your flowers more or less in the middle. Okay, and then we'll do the same again with this one down the bottom here, and then we're just going to paper piece those flowers into that design. But I'm not paper piecing all the flowers. I think I just picked out a couple on my sample. I was going to do them all, but I picked out a couple, and then I thought, actually, I don't really think I need any more. So I left it as it was, and I was quite pleased with how it looked. So just go round the edge with this glue. Again, just picking out the pieces that might lift if somebody caught them with a as they were taken out of the envelope or something like that. And that's the last thing you want when you've spent all the time die cutting it and gluing it down. You don't want somebody to go and ruin it just as they open it. So just run around the outside edge with your glue, like so. Okay, and then again just line it up with the bottom of the card and make sure you can't see any of the white card on the edges. You do have a little bit of wiggle room with this glue, but not a great deal, so bear that in mind. Okay, so I've put my base down. Then I'm just going to decide which flowers that I'm going to paper piece. So I think on this one I'm going to go with this flower here, and on this one I'm probably going to go with this one here. Okay, so these are from the larger one. So just remember that these little pieces here, if I lift this up, you see these little pieces here, they're really, really tiny, but they are part of the petal. So when you're flipping your die cut and all the pieces onto your piece of card, just make sure that you keep an eye on these tiny pieces, because it will make a difference to the look of the card. If you lose a few, then go for a different flower. So go for opposites, possibly, whatever you want really. So I'm going to add my glue to my base card, and I'm going to go down into those little fronds, and then I'm going to pick up that piece there and pop that down. This is so satisfying. I know it looks fiddly, but honestly, once it's done, it does look, it's so worth the effort, I think. And you can use whatever colour you want to put into your die cut. So, you know, if you like paper piecing and you do a lot of it, then when you die cut your edge cuts die, remember to keep all the pieces, but also remember that it's going to be a little bit fiddly if you haven't kept them in the right place. So if you're not doing it straight away, don't leave it till the last minute to start and put it together, because it'll take you a while. And that's only because, you know, the dies are made to look as realistic as possible. So that's why there's so many sort of tiny pieces, because without the tiny pieces, it just wouldn't look right. So it's all about aesthetics and making it look beautiful. So you can see once you've added your glue, it is quite quick. I've just got to get this round it the right way. It's a little bit fiddly, but if you've got these fabulous tweezers, or even the reverse tweezers, it will help you immensely. Okay, so I'm just going to take this. These little tiny pieces are more fiddly, obviously, but it's worth it, I think. And don't worry about any overspill with your glue because it dries clear anyway. Let's just flip that round. Like I said, the tiny little pieces are a little bit fiddly, but oh boy is it worth it. So on this I'm just going to stick my knife in there and lift it that way because it's really, really tiny. Okay, but I think if I lift it up and you can see those pieces there, you will agree with me that it's worth keeping those little pieces and adding them in because it just isn't going to look right if you don't. Okay, now I'm just going to take that banner off there because I don't think we need it anymore. Okay, and then I'm just going to go and do one of the other flowers. I'm just going to decide which one. I think I'm going to go for this one. Okay, so there's no little fiddly pieces on here, so this one's going to be quite a bit quicker. I'm going to add my glue to a couple of petals and then put my pieces in because I know that the glue's not going to dry too quickly that it's going to mess me up. Okay, have I put that in the wrong one? I've put that in the wrong one. Bear with. I'm working backwards on the flower. Is it that one or that one? I think it's that one. That one. See, and I've laid these out. So imagine how fiddly and how frustrating it is if you don't sit and lay the pieces out before you start. Okay, so I'll just pop these other three in here. The way I try and work out, I mean, I know I messed it up there, but I look at these pieces that come off the centre of the flower because they're all a little bit different. The shape of the petals is a little bit different as well, but they're going to help you decide which piece is which. Okay, so let's just flip this one around here, like so. That's better. Always looks better when you put it in the right place, doesn't it? And then pop that one in there like that. Okay, so I'm just picking out two of the flowers. You don't have to do them all. You can if you want, obviously, and you can do them in different colours if you want to, but you don't have to. It's not an essential. But the one thing I am going to do is I'm going to put some little gems in the centre of these flowers, which is something that I don't think I did on my TV sample. But when I was prepping this, I just thought, why not? So I get my pickup tool and then I can add these really easily to the card. And again, it's just tiny little details that I think make all the difference when you're finishing off a card. Make sure you use enough glue because obviously you're putting it into a little aperture, so use enough that it's going to sort of be a little bit raised so that there's some for those gems to adhere to. Okay, and then all I'm going to do is just add my sentiment right into the middle. Now I've gone with gold on white for this one, but again I've backed it onto black card, and again I could 3D it, but I think really if everything else is flat, I think I'd just like to keep it simple. And that's the beauty of these dies. You know, they make your cards look amazing, but they're so quick and easy that you could churn out 2 or 3 or 4 in an afternoon and then have like a little stash ready to use at the drop of a hat. They're just fabulous. Okay, a little bit of overspill there with the glue, but again it'll dry clear, so don't worry about it. Okay, so that's the second one. And I think the simplicity of these dies, that you don't really need to add a lot to your cards for them to look really, really pretty. So that's the second one. And then the third one, again, is based on one that I did for TV. And I did see in the group that a lady had ordered her Edgecutz die. And I think the comment she made was, I'm just a bit worried about the acetate. So that's why I thought I'd do this one, because I'm going to use acetate on this card. Okay, so my die cut is going to sit on this piece of card from the top here. Okay, but I don't really want to be able to see any white through it. I want it all to be, I want the die to have the acetate in the background. Okay, so I've measured this, and the bottom of this piece here is going to be where the bottom of my die sits. Okay, so I'm going to cut away this piece. So all I've done is I've placed this piece of card, which I've measured, which again I think was slightly more than 8 centimeters. This was 10. It really doesn't matter. I've only told you the measurements I've used because I'm demoing to you. You can have the width of the card to suit you, and you can have the width of the gap to suit you as well. Okay, so you can see that I've drawn a line on here, and I'm going to cut this away. You probably can't because it's only in pencil. So I've drawn a line here at the bottom, and that's what I'm going to cut this piece away here. I'm not throwing it away, I'm going to use it. And then up the top here, what I've done is this die is going to sit right at the edge of this card. Okay, and I don't want these pieces to have white behind them. I want them to have acetate behind them. So I've measured from the top of the die here to the top of the card, and I've drawn a line to meet the same measurement as that distance. Okay, so it's easier if I show you. So let's cut these two pieces away. Sounds scary, but honestly it really isn't. So I'm going to pop that there. I'm going to cut that piece away. I'm not going to throw it away, I'm going to keep it. This is the piece I'm not going to use. And then I'm going to line that up, my pencil mark right in the middle of my cut channel there. And I'm going to cut that away. Okay? So I don't need that anymore. So I've got a card with a little top fold and a piece at the bottom. Okay? So all I need to do now is put my acetate in and adhere my acetate to the inside of these two pieces of card, and then I can die cut my piece. Alright, so let's do the acetate first. I'm just going to trim those fluffy bits off the edge there. Okay, so that's the top. Just make sure I've got it right. Okay, so I've taken a piece of acetate and I've already measured it to fit my card. Make sure I get it the right way round. That way, like so. Don't worry if it doesn't go right to the bottom of this piece of card. It's not going to make any difference. All right, don't forget there is a cover on here, so peel the cover off but just before you use it. I think there's only one. There is only one on the pattern, isn't there? Hopefully. I'm sure there is. So I'm going to sit that there. Okay. And then I'm going to put my double-sided tape along the top here and along here. Now, when somebody opens the card, they may see the tape through the acetate. I really wouldn't worry about it. You've got to adhere it somehow, and the easiest way, to my way of thinking, is double-sided tape. And if you can see it, you can see it. Big deal. I really don't think it matters. So I'm going to put one piece there and one piece here. And that really is just sort of like a little bit of belt and braces, if you like, just to ensure that it's not going to, the acetate's not going to pull away from the card. Okay. And then I'm going to peel that off there. I'm going to use my knife. Peel that covering off there. I am going to peel that covering off there. It will come off whether it wants to or not. Okay, so taking those two pieces off there, line my acetate up on the inside of the card, and then fold that over. Okay, and I'd use your bone folder just to make sure that that adheres to that card like so. Okay, and then what you're going to do is you're going to add your tape to this piece of card here. All right, and again I'm going to use two pieces. I'm not bothered that somebody might see the tape on the inside. Let me make sure I've got it on the right way. That's on the right. So I'm just going to do exactly the same. I'm going to put a piece of tape on the top of the card, trim it off, and another piece on the bottom of the card. And again, it's really just a belt and braces, just to make sure that it's not going to come away from that acetate. Okay. And then peel that away. Peel the backing away, like so. Okay, and then all you're going to do is line this up with the bottom of this acetate here. You're going to have to be careful because obviously this double-sided tape is really sticky. So I'd do it from the edge and line it up that way. Okay, and then stick that down there. And again, I'd just run over it with your bone folder just to make sure that it's sticking to that card, like so. Okay, so now you've got your card with your acetate behind it. So I've put it in back to front, but never mind. Blind man, galloping horse. And then all I need to do is cut my piece here so that I can stick it on the front. All right, so I'm going to line this up because obviously I want to make sure that this die is straight. And you've got your leading pieces here, so that's going to help you to line it up. Okay, I'm using my magnetic mat, and that in itself is going to help me line this up and not worry about it moving. It's the beauty of the mat. Okay, so you can see that both these leading edges here line up with the same line on my cutting mat. All right, so I'm just going to add a little bit of washi tape onto my die because obviously I don't want this to move whilst I'm cutting it. I'm going to slip that off there. Again, I'm just going to run it through now. And then gently peel that off there because I am using this piece of card. Okay, so take that piece away, and then I can quite literally just pop these pieces. See how easily they fall out of here. And again, I've only run this through once. As I said, if you're using a thicker card, run it through a couple of times. That's not because of the die, that's because of the cardstock. Some cardstock just doesn't like dies for some reason, but the majority of the texture card, especially Lisa's texture card, works like a dream. So you shouldn't have any problems. But as I say, if in doubt, run it twice. Okay, so I'll just put those to one side, and then I can go back to my card here, and then I can quite literally just stick this on to the top here. So you can see now that by measuring it, all you can see through this aperture here is acetate. You can't see any white card. I didn't want the white card to come halfway down this die. Do you know what I mean? I wanted you to be able to just see the acetate behind it and not card. Okay, so I'm actually going to stick my glue here. I might, or am I going to do it on here? No, I'm not. I'm going to do it on here. So again, like I did with the black one, I'm going quite healthily on here. And the only reason I'm adding glue around the flowers is so that it does stick to the acetate. You might be able to see the glue when you've on the back of the card, but if anybody's looking at the back of the card instead of standing it up on the mantelpiece and admiring what you've sent them, then don't send them another one. Because A, it's the thought that counts, and B, it's the front of the card they should be looking at, not the back. But I'm not going to go round these pieces. Okay, I'm just going to literally go around the edge, just because I don't want that to lift off that acetate. Okay, like so. And then I'm just going to line it up with the top of the card so that I can't see any white behind that blue. Like so. And then I'm just going to stick that down, all like that. Okay, and quite simply finishing it off with just a sentiment. And again, I've used the sticker sentiments. There are loads of other sentiments that Lisa's got that you could use. I just happen to have these to hand. So on this one, I've gone with silver on white, and I've backed it onto the same blue that I've used for the card up the top here. So really, you know, there are three really simple cards there, but I think using these edge cuts, they look really quite expensive. So I'm going slightly off centre, not at the top and not at the bottom, because I think it looks better. Just make sure it's straight. I think it's straight. Okay, and I'm literally not doing anything else. That is the card. Okay, so I've got three cards there that are quite different, but all beautiful in their own right, I think. And then obviously I did the red heart just to show you how different it looks in a different colour, but equally as stunning. Okay, so you know, three different cards there, and of course you can do exactly the same with the other edge cut set. The is it called Bold Florals? You can do exactly the same sort of thing that I've done here. Okay, on Thursday we're going to be doing a bit of this. So this was one of my other samples, and these are the interference inks, as you can probably tell from the shimmer on them. So two of the cards will be based like this. Now these are exactly the same colours, just on different colour card. Okay, but I will stencil it with you on Thursday. So I'm using the die cut. I'm cutting it out of card and I'm going to use that as a stencil. Okay, now I haven't seen many of your comments, so I will go back and have a look through them. If there are any questions, I will try and answer them. So no Claire this week, it's half term, so she's off with her boys. So I will be back with you on Thursday at 1 o'clock. We're using the same set, we're just doing different things with it. Okay, so I just wanted to give you as much inspiration as I could with different looks. Similar, but different. Different enough to look different, if you know what I mean. Okay, so I will see you on Thursday at 1 o'clock, and obviously Lisa will be back with you on Friday at 6:30. Okay, so thanks very much for joining me. Take care of yourselves, and I'll see you on Thursday. Bye now.